Hey there, this is Sid and today we shall solve a SQL problem from StrataScratch. The title of the problem is Rank Variance per Country. It is listed as a hard problem in StrataScratch and the ID is 2007. As always, before we look at the problem statement, we shall have a look at the two input tables, then come back to the problem statement and understand what we are supposed to do. There are two input tables in this problem. One is the Facebook comments count and the other is the Facebook active users count. And I have moved both these tables to Excel so that it is easier for us to understand the problem. So here is the first table, Facebook comments count. It gives us the user ID of each user, the time or rather the date at which the comment was posted, and the number of comments that were posted on that day. So for example, some users on a given day will post more than one comment. And this is the Facebook active users count. This is again an input table. It gives us the user ID's name, the status, and the country that user belongs to. So we don't really have to worry about the status column here. So I hope the input tables are now clear to us. Now what I have done is I have created an intermediate table here. This intermediate table is nothing but the input table 1 plus the country column from the input table 2. So if you look at this column M, it is just looking up the country of this user. So for example, if you look for user 37 in the country lookup table, you will see that user 37, Michael Turner, belongs to Australia. And I have done the same thing for all the users. Now, if you scroll down this intermediate table, you will find that there are several users who unfortunately do not have a country. Now, once we go back to the problem, we will see that country plays a very important role in this problem. So these users who unfortunately do not have a country will not be used in the subsequent computations. So this intermediate table 2 is exactly the same as the intermediate table 1, with the only exception being we have dropped off those rows for which the country column is missing. So now that we understand the two input tables and the intermediate tables that we have created, let's go back to the problem statement. So it says that which countries have risen in their rankings based on the number of comments between December 2019 versus December 2020. So it's very simple. We need to have two tables. One table for December 2019, which will have all the countries in one column and the corresponding total number of comments for that country in the other column. Similarly, we shall do the same thing for 2020. So in 2019, we shall have all the countries in column A, and in column B, we shall have the corresponding total number of comments. And again for 2020, we shall have all the countries for column A, and in column B, we shall have the corresponding total number of comments for the respective countries. They have also provided us with a hint or more like a suggestion here. It says that avoid gaps between ranks when ranking the countries. So that's what the problem statement is. Let's go back to Excel again. So here what I have done is I have created a pivot table. We don't really have to worry about how this pivot table is created, but the relevant sections from that pivot table have been copied down here. So this is for 2019 December. I have listed the countries here, the number of comments here. And then I have done the same thing here for January 2020. I have listed the countries in this column and the number of comments in this column. Now, if you look at the third column here, you will see that I have also added a rank, and similarly here as well. So what is this rank? The rank is the position of the country based on the number of comments. So you see, USA had 11 comments, so it had the highest rank. Now highest rank is 1, the lowest number. China and Mali both had 8 comments, so there is a tie. Both of them are in the second place. Australia is in the third place, and so on and so forth. Now the interesting thing is Denmark. Denmark did not have any comments. So I have assigned an artificial rank here, which is an extremely low rank. A very large number means an extremely low rank. The reason for assigning this will be clear as we proceed. And the same thing has been done here. Now this column, it is trying to calculate the true or false value for the question, has it risen in rank or not? So what I have done here is, in this table which originally had the ranks for 2020 January, I have also brought the corresponding ranks from the 2019 December over using a simple VLOOKUP. So Mali, which is in 2020 Jan in rank 1, used to be in rank 2. So it has risen in rank. USA, China, Australia, Brazil and Luxembourg all have either maintained their ranks or gone down in rank. So the answer to the question, have they risen in rank, will again be false. For Denmark, if you see, the 2020 January rank is 6, whereas it was not even in the table, so to speak, in 2019 December. So it has definitely made an improvement. And Canada, which used to be in the list at rank 5, is now out of the list. So again, this has deteriorated in rank. So if you look here, there are only two countries, namely Mali and Denmark, which have risen in their ranks. So our final output will be Mali and Denmark. Now we shall try to implement this logic. The core of this logic is basically this pivot table. We shall try to implement this in SQL. And before we go and do that, we shall spend a minute or so in understanding three very related functions in SQL. One is called a row number, the other is called a rank, and the third is called a dense rank. Now suppose we have some values in this column. For simplicity, I have sorted these values in a descending order so that it is easier for us to follow. The row number function, which is a window function, will simply assign integers in an incrementing fashion to the successive values. So 11 has a row number 1, 8 has a row number 2, the next 8 has a row number 3. So if there is a tie, that is resolved by either sorting through another column which might be present. For example, maybe there is a country column, so they sorted it alphabetically and decided that this 8 should have a row number 2 and this 8 should have a row number 3, or it was randomly assigned. The most important thing to understand with row number is that it is a continuously incrementing integer. You don't have any repeating numbers regardless of whether there is a tie in the value or not. In contrast with a normal rank, which is called just rank, if there is a tie, both of them will get the same rank, which seems fair, but the next value will get not the next rank but the one next to it. So our rank will be skipped. In a way, that also makes sense because these three values are taking up the first three ranks. So they together account for 1, 2, and 3. So the next one who come up should be 4. And so on and so forth. The distinction between rank and dense rank is that if there is a tie, then the value that follows the tie will not have a skipped rank. It will still have the immediately next rank. So here we had a 4 in the normal rank, whereas in the dense rank we have a 3 here. So it is important to bear in mind this distinction. And in the solution we shall use dense rank. Now let's go back to Notepad++ where I have the SQL query ready. We shall try to understand it. Now it may look formidable, but it's fairly straightforward. Nothing very complex is really happening here. So I have a couple of cities here. The first city is the country's number of comments for December 2019. How am I counting that? All I am doing is I am taking the Facebook comments count as my left table and joining that with the Facebook active users as my right table using the user ID as the joining key. However, in the Facebook comments count, since I'm interested in December 2019, I have used the datepart function and the year argument and month argument to ensure that we are only considering the year 2019 and the month December. So from the Facebook comments count table, I have filtered out the year and month as 2019 and December, and that I have joined with the Facebook active users count as the right table using user ID as the joining key. Once I have done that, in the select clause I have chosen the country, which is what I need, followed by the sum of the number of comments from the Facebook comments count table. So this is the sum of the number of comments. And lastly, I have excluded those entries for which the country is null. So if you just take this city as a standalone SQL query and run it in the SQL editor of StrataScratch, you will find that you have all the countries listed here and the corresponding number of comments. Australia 5 comments, Brazil 3 comments, Canada 2 comments for December 2019, of course. So that takes care of the first part. The second part is exactly the same thing. This time we are doing this for January 2020 instead of December 2019. So the only difference will be in the date part function where we are extracting the year, we have said 2020, and when we are extracting the month, we have said January 01. So these two cities are exactly the same. Now next is where we are providing the ranks of the countries. Now if you look at this output of the first city, we had the country followed by the number of comments. So all we need is another column which will decide the rank of the country based on the number of comments, right? So that is what is being done by the third city here. So the third city is calculating the dense rank, which is a window function, and the dense rank is calculated by sorting the number of comments in a descending order. And the output of that dense rank function is given the alias comments underscore rank. Okay, one more thing here. We have also put in a where clause saying country is not null. So that is not needed here really because we had already taken care of that in the creation of the city for the December 2019 and Jan 2020 country comments. So if I copy up to this point and run it in SQL and just say show me the output of this city, what you are going to see is each country followed by its number of comments followed by the rank of that country, right? This output exactly corresponds to this table here, right? Now going back, we have the exact same thing done for the January 2020 country comments here. Exact same thing. Using the CTE for January 2020 to arrive at this city. Using the CTE Jan 2020 country comments while calculating the rank here. So at this point, I have these two tables ready. This 2019 December rank and 2020 January rank. These two are now ready. All that is now left is to arrive at this column, whether it has risen in rank or not. And that is done by this very simple last query here. What is this query doing? This query is taking these two tables, 2019 December and 2020 January, and it is joining by using the country as the joining key. Now, one important thing to note here is that we are using the Jan 2020 table as the left table and the December 2019 table as the right table. Why are we doing that rather than the other way around? Because if we are standing at Jan 2020 and looking back at December 2019, we would be able to pick up countries which are in the merit list, so to speak, of Jan 2020, but were nowhere in December 2019. However, if you did it the other way around, if you took your December 2019 as a left table, then if a country that was missing in December 2019 merit list but has made its appearance in Jan 2020 merit list will be lost. That is the reason why we are taking Jan 2020 country rank as the left table. And the only other thing that we are doing is this line number 44. All that we are saying here is this: if the country in its December 2019 merit list was absent, that is, if it had a null in the December 2020 merit list, then you assign it an artificially low rank. A very high number for rank basically means an extremely low rank. So what this line will do is, let us say there is a country, for example, Denmark, which had a very low rank in 2019, has suddenly made an appearance in the rank list of 2020 will be selected because of this where clause. All it is saying is, if this year's rank, which is a reasonably small valid integer, in this case 6, is less than 99999, which is what Denmark would get for 2019 because it was not there in the 2019 merit list, then you include that country as well, right? So again, to play it back again, if the country had a genuine rank in both 2019 December and 2020 January, you simply make a comparison of the ranks and say if there is an improvement or not. However, if the country made an appearance in the 2020 list but was absent in the 2019 list, then to do the comparison, artificially provide a very low rank, for example 99,999 for the 2019 rank, so that this comparison will turn out to be true. So now that we have understood the SQL query in bits and pieces, let us run the entire SQL query in the StrataScratch editor window and see how it works. So as you can see here, in our output, we have Mali and Denmark, which agrees with the output provided by StrataScratch. So we are good here. Okay, that's for today then. Thanks for watching this video. I shall keep coming back with more solutions to SQL problems from StrataScratch. So please stay tuned.